Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Or is it already afternoon? I want to start by apologizing for starting this session late, but much of the delay has been caused by some logistical challenges, which only emerged just around the time that we were supposed to have started. But we are here now. We can start the session. Today's session is meant to deliver judgment in criminal case number 46 of 2018. I can see Senior Counsel Mr. Kilukumi is here.
Yes,
So I invite you to address the court and introduce your colleagues for purposes of the record.
Yes.
For the quorum.
Your Ladyship, the appearance is as follows. Miss Timoi, Miss Kigira.
Miss Timoi.
Yes, Timoi. Miss Kigira and Miss Maina appear for the prosecution. They are all in brief for Miss Gishuri. Counsel watching brief on behalf of the victim, we have Awar, Brenda Yambo.
Mr. Awar.
Yes.
Present, my lady.
Yes. Brenda Yambo. Letitia Mwavishi.
Mavisi.
Mwavisi.
Mwavisi.
Yeah. And Victor Sirengo appear for the victim's family. My name is Kilukumi. I appear for the first accused, together with Mr. Sagana and Miss Mwanzia. Mr. Meso Oganda appears for the second accused.
Present, my lady.
And Mr. Oroga appears for the third accused.
Present, my lady.
Your Ladyship, we are ready to take the judgment.
Okay. Okay, this is the judgment. I will start with the information and background of this case. The three accused persons, that is Zakaria Okoth Obado, Michael Juma Oyamo, and Caspar Ojuang Obiero, hereinafter referred to as the first accused, the second accused, and the third accused respectively, are charged in 2 counts with the offense of murder, contrary to Section 203 as read with Section 204 of the Penal Code, Chapter 63 of the Laws of Kenya. The particulars in the first count being that between 3rd and 4th September 2018 at Owade area, Rachuonyo sub-county within Homa Bay County, the accused persons, jointly with others not before the court, murdered Sharon Otieno, hereinafter referred to as Sharon or the deceased. In the second count, it was alleged that between 3rd and 4th September at the same place, the accused persons, jointly with others not before the court, murdered baby Sharon. The court record shows that the accused persons took plea on 8th of October 2018 before Honorable Justice Jesse Lesit, now a judge of the Court of Appeal, and they denied charges in both counts. The case thereafter proceeded for full trial. It is important to note at the outset that the trial in this case has taken a long time to conclude due to several intervening factors. Those factors included the breakout of the COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant disruptions to court processes. The trial was also punctuated by several pre-trial issues and many interlocutory applications, starting with the applications relating to admission of the accused persons to board pending trial, and other applications which were handled by the second trial judge, Honorable Lady Justice Grace Genye Masharia, also a judge of the Court of Appeal currently, which were not concluded until the 27th of February 2020. There's a bit of interruptions from some quarter. I took over hearing of this case on the 5th of July 2021, and in the course of the trial, a significant amount of time was taken in the determination of interlocutory applications. It is noteworthy that in the course of the trial, I had and determined a record 16 interlocutory applications. Another reason which contributed to delay in the conclusion of this case was a transfer of the trial judge in September of 2022 after hearing a total of 25 witnesses. Hearing of the case thereafter stalled and resumed about a year later on the 17th of July 2023 after the Honorable Chief Justice directed that I should continue trying the case to its conclusion. The counsels in this case are as follows. I think it is important to mention the legal team that represented the parties during the trial. When the trial started, the lead prosecution counsel was Learned Counsel Ms. Catherine Mwaniki, assisted by Learned Counsel Ms. Gekoi Geshohi and Learned Counsel Ms. Betsy Gekonyo. But in the course of the trial, Ms. Gekoi Geshohi took over the role of lead prosecution counsel, assisted by Learned Counsel Ms. Betsy Gekonyo and at times Mr. Alan Mulama. On the defense side, the first accused was represented by Learned Counsel Mr. Kioko Kilukumi, Senior Counsel, assisted by Learned Counsel Mr. Rogers Sarana and Learned Counsel Ms. Mwanzia. The second accused was represented by Professor Tom Ojeda, Senior Counsel, assisted by Counsel Mr. Uganda Meso and Learned Counsel Ms. Catherine Msando. The third accused was represented by Learned Counsel Mr. Elisha Ogoya and Learned Counsel Mr. Jack Oronga. But in the course of the trial, Mr. Ogoya dropped from the case, leaving Mr. Oronga to continue representation of the third accused. Lastly, the victim's family was represented by Learned Counsel Mr. Daniel Joroge and Learned Counsel Mr. Hezekiel Awor. In support of his case, the prosecution called 42 witnesses and produced 81 exhibits. The prosecution case is that the first accused was at the material time the governor of Migori County, while the second accused was his personal assistant. The third accused was a clerical officer employed by the county government of Migori. The prosecution presented evidence that proved that the first accused was in an intimate sexual relationship with Sharon, who was then a second year student pursuing a diploma in medical health at Rogo University. Sharon's mother Ms. Melida Auma Rangili, who testified as PW30, testified that in the year 2017, she was living together with Sharon and her 3 children in her home. In February or March of 2017, she recalled that Sharon was pregnant and she realized that Sharon was pregnant and seemed unhappy. Upon inquiry, Sharon confided in her that the first accused was responsible for her pregnancy and that he had become evasive as he was not picking her calls and had also withdrawn financial support. PW30 further recalled that between March and May of 2017, Sharon told her that she had met the first accused in Nairobi, and he had told her that he was not ready for the pregnancy and she should terminate it. He gave her 30,000 to terminate the pregnancy and directed her to deal with the second accused for matters related to the pregnancy. Upon advice from PW30, that is her mother, Sharon decided to keep the pregnancy. According to the evidence of PW28, Mr. Lawrence Obonyo Owor, on 20th of July 2018, he was in one of the hotels in Homa Bay town when Sharon approached him seeking financial assistance. He promised to give her what he could on the following day. On the following day, they met in the same hotel, and as they were having tea, Sharon requested him to recommend a journalist who could assist by publishing her plight in the in the mainstream media to force the first accused to give her attention that she felt she deserved. On the 25th of July, PW28, that is Lawrence Owor, organized a meeting between Sharon and a journalist at Tourist Hotel in Homa Bay. The journalist testified as the journalist was PW9 and testified as a protected witness under the pseudonym of XYZ. According to PW9, Sharon narrated to him her personal details and confided that she was in an intimate relationship with the first accused who had abandoned her after impregnating her, and that at the time she was 7 months pregnant and as she was facing financial hardships, she wanted PW9's assistance by having her story published in the newspapers to force the first accused to reach out to her. PW9, that is SYZ, further recalled that he took photographs of the deceased and screenshots of WhatsApp communications between her and the first accused. Sharon also played 2 audio recordings of conversations between her and the first accused. And in the first recording, the first accused was pleading with Sharon to stop posting her images on social media, especially Facebook, particularly photos of hotels they had frequented, while in the second recording, he was beseeching her to procure an abortion, stating that time was actually running out. After a few days, PW9 communicated to the first accused through a mutual friend as he wanted to hear his side of the story before acceding to Sharon's request. When he reached out to the first accused through that mutual friend, the first accused called him, and in the course of their conversation, he invited him to visit his home at Rapoki together with PW28. They both accepted the first accused's invitation and went to his home the same evening. After sharing a meal, they had a meeting in which the issue of Sharon was discussed. And during that meeting, the first accused admitted knowledge of Sharon's pregnancy, but complained that her expectations of him, as narrated by PW9, were unrealistic, as she was demanding a good car, a house in Nairobi, and a good job. And in communicating these demands, PW9 indicated that he had Sharon's instructions to publish her illicit affair with the first accused in the media if her demands were not complied with. In response, the first accused requested PW28 to contain the situation by talking to Sharon and identifying her needs. He also advised that any future communication relating to Sharon's pregnancy should be channeled through the second accused, his personal assistant. According to PW9, at the end of the visit, as the first accused was bidding them goodbye, he instructed him not to tell anyone about Sharon's pregnancy. The second accused also called PW9 a few days later and notified him that Sharon's matter would be resolved amicably. About a week after the Rapogi meeting, PW28 met the first accused alone at Serena Hotel and later at Heron Hotel, also in Nairobi. PW28 in that meeting shared to the first accused information received from Sharon that Sharon required between 20 to 25 million to buy a house in Nairobi or Kisumu, a good vehicle, and money for her upkeep. The first accused made a counter proposal offering to buy her a plot at Homa Bay and constructing for her a 3-bedroomed house. PW28, that is Mula, was asked to share this counter proposal with Sharon and returned feedback to the first accused. And as instructed, PW28 Lawrence discussed the matter with Sharon, who accepted the first accused's counter proposal. And when he communicated to the first accused Sharon's acceptance of her proposal, according to PW28, the first accused promised to avail the money needed for the purchase of the plot and the construction of the house by end of August 2018. On the 23rd of August 2018, PW1 recalled having received a call from Sharon informing him that the first accused, through the second accused, had requested to meet them in Nairobi urgently. PW9 then called the second accused for confirmation of that information. And the second accused confirmed that that was true and added that the first accused would meet their transportation costs. And on the night of 23rd and 24th of August 2018, at around 3 a.m., PW9 received 22,000 through his M-Pesa from a lady identified as Veronica Wageshi. This was PW4. PW4 testified that she was on duty on 23rd of August 2018 as a receptionist at Sagret Hotel, Nairobi, when a man she was not able to identify requested her to send through her Safaricom line 22,210 to PW9's mobile number, allegedly because he did not have a Safaricom line. The second accused, in his defense, admitted having sent the above money to PW9 through PW4 to facilitate Sharon's and PW9's flight to Nairobi on the same day. There is evidence from PW5 and PW9 that Sharon and PW9 took an early morning flight from Kisumu to Nairobi on the 24th August 2018. On arrival, they met with the second accused at Capital Center, who later catered for their accommodation as he allegedly made efforts to schedule a meeting for them with the first accused. Unknown to Sharon and PW9, the second accused had also facilitated the travel of Lawrence Muller to Nairobi on the same day, ostensibly for the same purpose of having a meeting with the first accused. However, the promised meeting failed to take place, and disappointed the trial, that is PW9, Lawrence and Sharon, returned to Homa Bay in the evening of the following day. According to the evidence of PW9 and PW28, that is Stu Mura, between 27th and 29th of August, the second accused called them separately using an Airtel line number 0739473321, informing them that in future they should communicate with him using that line. He, however, gave them different reasons for that instruction. According to the evidence of PW9, the second accused claimed that he had lost his Safaricom line, and that is why he had asked them to communicate through the Airtel line. Well, according to Lawrence, he claimed that the second accused had claimed that his Safaricom line had been blocked by children and he had not had time to unblock it. Further, through the evidence of Noah Omondi Odoyo, who testified as PW26, an Airtel shop attendant in Migori, the prosecution alleged that the above Airtel line, that is the line that the second accused acquired and instructed PW9 and Muller to be using in any communication with him, that line had been registered using a national identity card, which was issued in the name of Vincent Abonyo. Vincent Abonyo, in his testimony, recalled that he had lost his identity card while at Kenya Commercial Bank in Migori, and that he had already obtained his replacement. He denied having registered the Airtel line used by the second accused to communicate to Sharon, PW9 and PW28. On the PW28 record that in late August 2018, the second accused called him using the Airtel line and they subsequently had a meeting outside Tausi Hotel at Rodi, during which the second accused asked PW28 to keep off Sharon's affairs, as he would henceforth deal with her issues. On being cross-examined by Mr. Awor for the victim's family, Lawrence recalled having written a statement confirming that in that meeting, the second accused had asked him how they could get access to PW9's and Sharon's mobile phones, since they contained evidence that could take the governor to the media. According to the evidence of XYZ, that is PW9, Sharon called him on the 3rd of September 2018 at about 5 p.m., informing him that the second accused had conveyed a request from the first accused that they should meet at Rodikopani in Homa Bay County. They acceded to second accused's request, and on arrival at Rodikopane, Sharon contacted the second accused, who redirected them to Rongo town. They proceeded to Rongo and went to Grasa Hotel, where they waited for the second accused. And when he eventually joined them in the hotel, the second accused informed them that the place was too open for him to communicate the message he had from the first accused. He requested that they should move to another venue. XYZ further testified that as they exited the hotel, they found a dark vehicle parked outside the hotel entrance, which the second accused allegedly asked them to board, claiming that it belongs to him. On boarding this vehicle, he noted that it already had two occupants, a driver and a person seated on the passenger seat. PW9 sat behind the driver. Sharon sat in the middle, while the second accused sat behind the front passenger seat. The vehicle then left the hotel, and as it was being driven towards Rongo town, and was driven towards Rongo town, but subsequently changed direction towards Homa Bay town. Along the way, near a petrol station, PW9 claims to have seen two people standing by the roadside. It was now evening around 7:30 p.m. He recalled that the second accused ordered the driver to slow down, and when he did, the second accused exited the vehicle. The two unknown men who were with them in the vehicle he had seen standing by the roadside entered the vehicle and sat at the rear seat, sandwiching Sharon and PW9. He was able to see the two men seated with them at the rear seat, but he was unable to see the driver and the man seated on the front passenger seat, who appeared to be receiving instructions from somewhere, as he was constantly on the phone. As the vehicle sped towards Homa Bay, one of the men ordered them to switch off their mobile phones and surrender them together with their other valuables, which they did. The same man, who he was not able to identify, asked him whether he had a tape recorder, and the other man started searching his pockets. The man seated next to Sharon, according to PW9, asked Sharon about her relationship with him and how she had met the governor, which Sharon explained. The man seated next to PW9 also asked him how he had met Sharon and why he was doing a story about the governor. And as Sharon got distressed and started crying, one of the men told her to stop crying as they were taking her to the governor. According to the evidence of PW9, as the conversation continued, and at this time the vehicle was still in motion, the man seated next to him became violent and started strangling him, asking him why he was following the story about the governor. This man then lowered his seat to an inclined position, and taking advantage of this development, PW1 wiggled his way from his grasp, opened the doorknob of this vehicle, and jumped out as the vehicle was still on transit. He fell on the tarmac and rolled off the road. And he also noted that the vehicle had stopped a distance away and two people started running towards him. He started running away from them in the direction of lights he saw from a distance, which led him to a home in which he took refuge. According to the prosecution case, this home belonged to Mr. Kasera, who testified as PW27. In his evidence, PW27, Mr. Kennedy Kasera, narrated how on 3rd September 2018 at around 8 p.m., a man stormed into his house in a panic and went straight to hide under the bed in his bedroom. He was surprised because he did not know this person before. Upon inquiry, this man explained how he had been abducted together with Sharon and how he had escaped. He noted that this person, obviously referring to PW9, had fresh injuries on his hands and knees which were bleeding. PW27 then took PW9 to Cadell Police Post, where they reported the matter to PC Willie Okoti. PC Willie Okoti testified as PW number 6. In his testimony, Mr. Okoti recalled having noted PW9's injuries on his palms and knees, and that his trouser was torn around the knees. He also noted that he was visibly shaken as he was trembling when making his report. He then booked PW9's report and also disseminated it to OCS Kedube Police Station. He disseminated it to the OCS, that is Officer Commanding Kedube Police Station, who, accompanied by other police officers, who included PC2Y, who testified as PW11, and PC Roymen Laisalel, who testified as PW25. They went to Cadell Police Post, picked PW9 and escorted him to Kedube Sub-County Hospital for treatment. At the hospital, he was treated by a clinical officer, Mr. Haran Diero Ajwang, who testified as PW10. In his evidence, the clinical officer recalled having noted fresh injuries on PW9's hands and knee joints, which were actually bleeding. In his opinion, the injuries were soft tissue injuries since there were no fractures. He took treatment notes on a notebook, on the basis of which he later filled a P3 form, which he produced in evidence as exhibit number 16. In the course of his long and detailed testimony, which the court recorded for several days, PW9 identified the vehicle in which he was allegedly abducted together with Sharon. It was motor vehicle registration number KCL 481K, a Toyota Fielder, grey in color, which according to records maintained at the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, was owned by Miss Olivia Olo, who was the third accused's wife. The vehicle was being operated as a taxi, and his driver was a Mr. Jackson Otieno Gombe, who testified as PW38. According to PW38, Mr. Gombe, on the 3rd of September 2018, he received instructions from Olivia, who was the owner of this vehicle, who instructed him to take the vehicle for valuation at Invesco Insurance in Migori. PW38 recalled that accused number 3 directed him to the insurance company offices to get the valuer's telephone number. And after getting in touch with the valuer, he proceeded to Olivia's house to get a copy of the vehicle's logbook. On arrival in Olivia's home, he claims to have found the second, the third, and another person identified as Dicky seated together outside the house. He also recalled that as he was leaving, this Olivia allegedly warned him not to tell anyone about what he had witnessed or what he had seen in that home. In addition, PW38 testified that later the same day, between 4 and 5 p.m., a police officer known as Elvis, who also testified in support of the second accused person's case, who was also one of the bodyguards attached to the first accused, called PW38 and allegedly instructed him to pick the second accused at Oriri at around 6 p.m. and that the second accused would then direct him where to go. He claimed that he knew Elvis as he used to see him with the first and third accused, and he sometimes gave him work, such as picking up customers and relaying information to third accused or his wife. PW38 recalled that he complied with those instructions and proceeded to Oriri, where he found the second accused in the company of two unknown men. The three of them boarded the vehicle and he drove them to Gracia Hotel, following instructions from the second accused. On arrival at the hotel, the second accused alighted. The second accused was the only person who went to the hotel, while the other two men were left standing behind the vehicle. And after about 10 to 20 minutes, the second accused emerged from the hotel, accompanied by a lady who appeared pregnant and another person or another man. According to his further evidence, all the unidentified men who had been in the company of the second accused boarded the vehicle, but the second accused did not. One of these men instructed him to drive to a nearby petrol station and park by the roadside, which he did. Shortly thereafter, the second accused joined them, appearing to have crossed over on foot from Gracia Hotel. And after the second accused engaged in a discussion with the unidentified men, these men boarded the vehicle, one on each side of the rear. Two of them sat on each side of the rear seat of the vehicle, meaning that Sharon and PW9 was sandwiched between these two men, while the other man sat at the front passenger seat. According to PW38, Mr. Gombe, when driving towards Kisumu as directed by one of these unidentified men, he had them questioning Sharon and PW9 about their relationship with the governor, referring to the first accused. He decided not to follow up with the conversation since it did not concern him, and he increased the volume of music in the vehicle. After driving for some time, he claims to have sensed a gush of wind blow into the vehicle, as if the rear door or window had been opened. He recalled that he was at the time driving at a speed of about 60 kilometers per hour. He slowed down, and on asking what was happening, one of the unknown men seated behind him dismissed him, saying, "Wachana na hii fala," and he proceeded with his journey. As he continued driving, he was being directed by one of the unidentified men on the roads to follow. And eventually he was led to a rough road in a forested area with no homes nearby. At some point, he was instructed to stop, switch off the lights of the switch off the vehicle's engine as well as its lights and wait. When this is the time that he realized that one man who was previously in the vehicle was no longer there. As when the occupants of this vehicle alighted, he noted that one of them was not there. As only a lady and 3 men alighted. He complied with instructions to wait in the vehicle. And after about 10 to 20 minutes, the 3 men returned, but without the lady. Upon inquiry, he was informed that the lady had been left at their home. He was then directed to drive to Oriri, where the unknown men alighted between 9 and 10 p.m. He thereafter drove to his home in Migori. The prosecution also tendered evidence that in the morning of 4th September 2018, a clinical officer at Migori County Referral Hospital, Mr. Justice Gwindi, received a call from a man who identified himself as Caspal Obiero. Justice knew Caspal before because of his association with the then governor of Migori County. Justice testified as PW22, and he identified Caspal in court as the third accused. He recalled that after receiving this call from the third accused went to see him in the hospital, accompanied by the second accused. The third accused then informed him that they required his assistance on an issue related to treatment. The second accused took over the conversation and explained that he had been attacked by unknown people the previous night at Kisii, and he had been robbed of money belonging to the first accused. He therefore needed a medical request form issued by a hospital in Kisii, confirming that he had sustained injuries on the previous night as he needed to protect his job. PW22 recalled that upon receiving this request, he contacted his colleague at Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. His friend was Mr. Cliff Omanyi, who testified as PW20. PW20 recalled that on this date, that is the 4th of September 2018, at around 10:30 a.m., he was at his place of work when he received a call from his friend, Mr. Mwindi, who requested him to assist his friend, who he identified as Mr. Michael Oyamo, by issuing him with a medical request form prescribing multiple medical investigations, including chest x-rays, MRI, and CT scans. And although he did not know or examine the said Michael Oyamo, He fabricated treatment notes and a computer-generated outpatient card purportedly issued at KTRH, that is the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, as a favor to his friend, Mr. Justus. These documents were produced in evidence as exhibits 31A and B. He recalled that on the same day at around midday, that is PW 22, he delivered the medical reports to third accused on the instructions of the second accused. On the same day, that is 4th September, PW 23, a police officer at Oriri Police Station, that is Philomen Fidel, is ACPI. He was at the police station on duty when the second accused went to the police station and reported a case of abduction. According to PW 23, the second accused alleged that on the evening of 3rd September, he was at Gracia Hotel with a lady by the name of Sharon and another man, and that on leaving the hotel, they were abducted in an undisclosed vehicle. That he found himself in Kisii the following morning, having lost 270,000 belonging to the first accused. Upon receiving this report, PW3 instructed the police officer then manning the report office, who testified as PW24, to record the report in the station's occurrence book, which was done. And the extract of that report was produced in evidence as prosecution exhibit 35. After this report was recorded, PW23 was made aware of the abduction report that had been made by PW9 the previous evening at Cadell Police Post. And he formed the opinion that the report made by the second accused was suspicious. And the second accused was therefore arrested for further investigations. On the same day, at around 3 p.m., this is now the 4th of September, 2018, Sharon's lifeless body was discovered in a bush near Owade River by Mr. Moses Oditi Oguta, a resident of Owade village. This Moses Oditi, who testified as PW7, was shepherding his cattle towards his home when he stumbled upon Sharon's body. He reported the matter or this discovery at Oyugi's police station. He was escorted by police officers, namely Inspector Mary Mogire, PW18, and PC Midiki, PW19, to the scene where he had left this body, and they found members of the public already gathered. PW18 and PW19 recalled having noted that the body was naked, lying face down in a pool of blood. As part of her preliminary investigations, PW18, this is a Mary Mugire, recovered the items she found at the scene and prepared an inventory of the same. The items included items of clothing and open shoes belonging to Sharon, 2 used condoms, 3 sachets of trust condoms, 2 cover packets of trust condoms, and a sachet of some illicit brew. PW18 Inspector Mary Mogire and PC Sami Midiki, after those preliminary investigations, collected the body and took it to Rachuonyo District Hospital mortuary for preservation. On the 8th of September 2018, according to the evidence of PW29, he identified the late Sharon's body to the government pathologist, Dr. Johansen Odwor, PW1, who conducted an autopsy on the body. In his testimony, PW1 recalled that on examining the body, he noted multiple external injuries consisting of 2 slash wounds under the right and left ear, and a total of 7 deep stab wounds, one at Sharon's abdominal area, and the others at several areas of her back. After his examination, he opined that the deceased cause of death was severe hemorrhage due to penetrating force trauma with features of manual strangulation. He documented his findings in a postmortem report, which he produced as Exhibit 1. In the course of his examination, he also noted that the deceased uterus had a dead fetus, which was 28 weeks old. The stab wound to Sharon's abdomen had penetrated to the uterus, gone through the fetus's abdomen, and came out through the umbilicus. He also prepared and signed a postmortem form in respect of the fetus, which he produced as Exhibit 1B. Upon cross-examination by Mr. Kilukumi, Senior Counsel for the first accused, PW1 confirmed that with that kind of injury, the fetus did not have any chance of being born. As reports in both the mainstream and social media platforms started circulating regarding the circumstances in which Sharon and her unborn baby were found dead, and given the public interest the reports had generated, a team of officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters, that is DCI headquarters in Nairobi, was dispatched to Homa Bay to take over investigations into the matter. This team of officers included Chief Inspector Nicholas Konara Olesena, who testified as PW42, the last prosecution witness, and he narrated to the court how investigations in this case were undertaken by the investigating team from DCI headquarters. According to his evidence, together with his co-investigators, they arrived in Homa Bay on the 6th of October 2018 and commenced investigations. They found their second accused already under arrest. In the course of their investigations, they recorded and reviewed statements from persons who have testified as prosecution witnesses. And this included PW21, the health records and information officer at Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. This witness, that is PW21, confirmed that the medical records allegedly obtained by the second accused from PW20, purportedly issued by KTRH, did not emanate from the hospital, and they were in fact forgeries. He also recalled that he had obtained the forged medical records, that is PW42, claimed that he obtained these forged medical records at Oriri police station after the second accused had presented them there while making a report about his alleged abduction on the evening of that September 2018. PW42 also recalled having visited Gracia Hotel in the course of their investigations in a bid to obtain CCTV footage about the happenings of the 3rd of September. But he was unable to obtain any, as the device for storage of CCTV images, that is the DVR, was faulty. His investigations also led to recovery of motor vehicle KCL 481K, which had been used in the abduction of the late Sharon and PW9. After this vehicle was identified in court by PW9, he produced it in evidence in support of the prosecution case as PW as Exhibit 17. Further investigations led to analysis of DNA profiles generated from the first accused and baby Sharon, which, according to the government analyst, Mr. John Kimani Mugai, confirmed or revealed that the first accused was the biological father of baby Sharon. He produced a report documenting his findings dated 11th March 2020 as Exhibit 11. In the course of his investigations together with his team, PW42 caused forensic examination of mobile phones, including phones belonging to PW28, an iPhone belonging to the first accused, and Huawei tablet belonging to the deceased. The phones were produced as exhibits in this matter, and the cybercrime forensic report showing text messages and images contained in the aforesaid phones was also produced as Exhibit 51A. Notably, this forensic report showed that the iPhone belonging to the first accused had text messages for only 2 days. That is on the 12th and 13th of September 2018. PW42 also recalled having obtained call data records from 2 service providers, namely Airtel and Safaricom Limited, in respect of mobile lines used by the late Sharon, PW28, accused 1, accused 2, accused 3, and PW38, together with their M-Pesa records. The reports containing the above details were also produced in evidence by PW42 as exhibits. Another witness, that is PW41, which was acquired by the second accused on the 27th of August. The subscriber details showed that the line was registered under the name of Vincent Abonyo, that who was a PW8. In the course of his investigations, recorded reactivated on the following day. The indicative of the fact that the tracking device had either been tampered with or was disabled